Hello, everyone, and welcome. Glad you're here today joining us for our last session of this school year, and you're going to be in for a big treat. This is using Snorkl for TELPAS practice. So once you have this information, next year you'll be good to go, and I think this will really help you and your students with practicing for TELPAS and just oral language overall. We have with us today Amber Ibarra. She is our CIT from Garza Pena, and I am going to turn it over to her so she can show you the way. Thank you, Amber.
All right, let's get started. Our objective. So by the end of the training, you should be able to use Snorkl to design and facilitate TELPAS aligned listening and speaking activities, including creating prompts, guiding student responses, and providing feedback for support or to support our English language development. Some of the norms for this training would be to register for the session if you haven't already, and the sign-in code is PSJA Tech. And please mute your mic and you can ask questions in the chat. Okay, so what is Snorkl? Snorkl is an AI-powered learning platform that allows students to record their thinking through audio, video, and drawing while responding to prompts. It uses AI to help analyze student responses and support language development and deeper understanding by providing feedback to help guide students in improving the clarity and quality of their responses. So how does that tie in to the TELPAS? Well, TELPAS requires students to listen, speak, and respond. So many students struggle to elaborate their responses, and Snorkl provides structured listening and speaking practice. It also provides opportunities for repeated practice, and as well as that the AI feedback that it provides. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So I already have an account, so it's taking me straight to the dashboard, but if you guys are not familiar, you would just type in Snorkl and click on this link, and it's going to have you sign up. So you can sign up using your district email, and it should let you. So right here on your dashboard, I'm going to go over a little bit about the different, the dashboard and the other tabs that we have, and then I'll show you how to create the activities. So on our home tab, we have here the recent classes. So anything that you've been working on recently will pop up here. And then we have some prompting. So we have try a sample activity, find an activity, create an activity. And then right here on the right-hand side, it has some resources for you and support if you need it. The activities we're going to go over in just a little bit. I'm going to move on to the classes. So this is where you would go to create your classes. You would click create a class. You can give it a name. And all it does is it's just creating the class. It's not linked yet. Once you've created that class, then you can go ahead and link it to your Google Classroom. So that way you can assign these activities directly to your students. But I'll go over that in more detail once we actually get there. And then the last tab is the library tab. So my library is where you would find all of the activities that we create. You have my activities here at the bottom, and then my collections is more of an album. So once you've created several activities and you want to group them together, you can create an album and just, makes it easier. You can keep all specific types of lessons together. And then the next one is the Snorkl library. So if you wanted some ideas or you just kind of want to look through some of the activities that are already created for you, you can do so here. These are created by Snorkl, and they do have one specific for TELPAS. So if you go to the Reading and Language Arts, and we can click on 3rd grade, and then we scroll down to Speaking and Listening. These are the 8 activities that they have. Now, it's not a lot, but they are, they're good. They're good lessons. So especially if you're need some ideas on how to create or what to do with your lessons, these are good to look at. So I'm just going to open one up so you can take a look at, see what it looks like. So this one says reading a poem, and if you can see that, this is what the student will see here. So it has the directions there, and it wants them to read loudly. And then they will, let's see, press record and read the poem. So they're recording themselves reading the poem. So this would probably be for fluency. This one over here, tell a story. I think this one is more for the speaking. Record a 1 to 2 minute story of a time where you faced a difficulty or obstacle that you later were able to overcome or solve. So this would be a good one. And so if you wanted to do it with your students, you would click assign or add to my library. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump over back to the home tab, and I'm going to show you how to create an activity. So we're going to click on this tab, create an activity. And so you can title it anything you want. I'm going to just put listening. I'm going to first show you how to create an activity specific to the listening portion of TELPAS. Then here, student response type. So you have several options. You can give them the whiteboard recording, which allows them to speak, type, or draw on their board. You can do the whiteboard only, so it's only typing or drawing. The audio only, so this would be good for like the speaking. You only want them to be able to respond orally. You don't want them to be able to draw on the board, or the writing, which is just typing. So for the listening, we're only going to do whiteboard only. There's not going to be any speaking for this one. Okay, so now add a question. This is where we create what it's going to look like for the student. So to do this, I would recommend, if you can come up with something on your own, that's perfect, but I'm going to get questions directly from the TELPAS test that the students have already seen. So I'm going to type into Google TELPAS practice, and we're going to go to the Texas Assessment Gov and go to the practice platform.
Sí,
So
lo que
we're gonna
pasa es
log
que yo había
in.
dividido así como que en secciones y lo último que hice era la sección 3.
Okay, and then we're going to do guest session. And we'll go with 3rd grade. And we're going to go down here to the TELPAS practice sets. And then we will click on listening and speaking. And so it's going to make you go through the whole thing. That's okay. Hello. Okay. Okay, once you've got in, then you can kind of look through the different questions, see what, look and see if you find one that you like. This is a good listening one. It says, listen to the audio, choose the answer that best matches what you hear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of the picture. That's what we need for the students to be able to see. So if you're not familiar, to take a screenshot, you're going to, on your keyboard, you're going to hit the Windows, Shift, and then S, and that should pull out your snippet. I'm actually going to come down just a little bit. Okay, right there. So again, Windows, Shift, S, and now you have your snippet tool. And I'm just going to select just what I need. And so when it takes a screenshot, it just depends. It does save it to your desktop automatically. I'll show you. If you go to your files, you should already have screenshots depending on your device. But on mine, it automatically creates a screenshots file, and so I can just look through here. It automatically saves here. Or another thing that you can do is when you take a screenshot, it automatically kind of copies it. So you're just going to go ahead and paste it. So let me show you that. So we're going to go ahead and click add question. And like I mentioned, you can either upload right here, upload image, and you would select the screenshot that we chose, or you can click on your keyboard, Control V, and that'll paste the picture that we just took. Okay, so now that we have this picture, I want to keep it big for them to be able to see it, but I still need room to put the question. So we're going to kind of move it down a little bit. Okay, now the question. So I'm going to go back. And the question here says, listen to the audio, choose the answer that best matches what you hear. So the only issue with this is Snorkl does not have an option for you to add audio, but it does read anything that you put here on the screen. So if we type out the instructions, the students will be able to click the read aloud and it'll read it to them. So that's what you're gonna have to play around with it a little bit. So that's what we're gonna do. So instead, we're gonna type out our question. And So it says, listen to the audio. We're not going to put audio. We're going to put, choose the answer that best matches what you hear. Oops. Okay, so, and you know what? They can't choose. That's another thing. So what they do have access to is these options up here. So they can draw and add text, but we really only need them to draw. So we're just going to we're going to put here, circle the answer that best matches what you hear. And then following that, we will put the audio says, and that's what we're going to put. 2 girls are sharing a snack. Okay. And that is it. If you need to add more, you can, but it's pretty simple. You just add the question and the picture. We're going to go ahead and click Done Editing. Okay, now down here, it says AI feedback settings. So this one, it's really up to you. You can have AI generate it for you, or you can set it up manually. So I'm going to show you both. On this first one, I'm going to show you how we set it up manually. And then on the second activity I show you, we'll do the generate just so you can compare. So when I click set up manually, it's going to prompt you to answer some questions. So the subject would be language arts, and this is upper elementary because we're 3rd grade. And then the prompt says question. So tell our AI what question you are asking. So we can just match the question that we put, which is to circle the answer that best matches what you hear. So the student will circle the answer that matches the instructions. Okay, and then answer/criteria, tell our AI the expected answer or criteria for success. So how should the student be answering? So we want them to circle the one with the 2 girls sharing the snack. So that's what you would put. The student will circle the picture of the 2 girls sharing, a bowl of popcorn. Okay. And then right here, more options. This is just asking as far as the feedback. We do want the AI feedback on, so we're going to leave that on. Okay. And before I click assign, I want you to see how it looks for the student. So we're going to click try as a student. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when they log in. They're going to see it exactly like this, and they have to click on start response. And this is what they're going to see. So down here on the left-hand side, they're going to see that speaker button. And when they click on it, it's going to read the instructions to them. Sometimes it takes a while to load, but it does work. Were you guys able to hear? I don't know if I shared my sound.
No, we didn't hear. So
Oh no.
if you want to try to share the sound, you certainly can.
Let me pause really quickly. Well, unless, I mean, you guys get the gist of it, right? It reads it. It does read it to you guys. Well, you know what? Let me go ahead and just share my sound. That way you can hear the way it sounds once we do the feedback. Oh, look here. Okay, let me try again.
Circle the answer that best matches what you hear. 2 girls are sharing a snack.
Were you able to hear that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so it reads it to them. So like I said, we kind of have to go around the fact that we can't add audio, but they are able to hear the instructions and what the audio would have said. So their instructions are to circle the picture that best matches what they hear, which is 2 girls are sharing a snack. So I'm going to go ahead and answer it incorrectly so you guys can see what happens with the feedback. So I'm thinking the one that they'd probably choose if they got it wrong is probably this one because I see food here. So we're going to go ahead and circle that, and we're going to click, or the student would click End Review. And then they would click Submit. And then here on the right-hand side, this is where the feedback is going to show up. So it does take a minute for it to load, but it does pop up. Okay, there we go. So right away it says incorrect, 1 out of 4, not yet. It does read it to them, so that's another good thing. They can listen to each feedback.
Good job circling one clear answer. You followed the directions to circle your choice.
So it's not being super like you got the whole thing wrong. It's kind of being a little more supportive and is saying, yes, you did, so you did good. You did circle something, but it wasn't the correct thing that you circled. I noticed you picked the picture with girls eating, but look more carefully. Are they sharing the same food or eating their own separate foods? So it's not giving the answer away, which I like. It's kind of helping them. It's guiding them so that they're able to think about it and try again, as opposed to either just saying it's wrong, try again, and then they just, they're probably just going to go and choose something else, or just giving them the answer and then they don't have a chance to really think about it again. So I do like that. So, okay, so yes, so then let's try again. We're going to do respond again. And this time we're going to do it correctly. So circle the correct answer and in review and submit. Okay, so 4 out of 4, we got it correct. Great job. You listened carefully and found the right picture, and then so on. So that is how the students will see it. So we're going to go ahead and return to teacher, and now I'm going to show you how to assign. So once you've done everything, you've edited and you like the way it looks, we're going to go ahead and click assign. And this is where you will assign to your class. Now, if you haven't made a class yet, down here at the bottom, it gives you the option to make a class. So we're going to try that. We're going to click create class. And let's say that, I mean, it's up to you. You can either name it your name for your whole class, or if you want to just assign to maybe groups, maybe you have by color red group, you can do that. And then click create. So we're assigning it to the red group. Now here, the activity settings. So the whiteboard read aloud. So this, we want it to be on because this is what's going to read the instructions to them. And then whiteboard translate. It does have the option to translate the instructions in Spanish. However, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that the students have access to translate on the day of the test. So I would turn it off just so that it simulates the same way that they would see it on the day of the test. Then Snorkl Coach is premium, so we don't have access to that under the free option. And then you can limit the attempts if you'd like to. Just like the TELPAS, I believe they only get 2 attempts, so you can limit it to 2. Or if you just want them to be able to try as many times because they're practicing, then you can just leave it as is. Now, the guest login, we don't need that because in a minute I'm going to show you how to link it to the Google Classroom, but they won't need to be able to they won't need to have to log in as a guest because they will be logging in through Google Classroom. And then the collaboration, let's say, I mean, for this sake, for the TELPAS, you wouldn't really need to collaborate, but if you wanted to use this for maybe a different project or something, you could, that is an option. You can have them collaborate with each other. You can also schedule. So if you didn't want to assign it today, you could schedule it for another day. But if not, if you wanted to just go ahead and assign, you would just click assign. And then, so now to link it to your Google Classroom, you would click here. So I know it's a successfully assigned, but it's not complete yet. You still have to assign it through Google Classroom. So you could copy the link or click go to activity, but you would need to click on, sorry, you're going to click on the Google Classroom, and then you're going to click on your classroom that you want to share it with. Okay, so then you can, it automatically kept the same title that I gave it, but you can change it if you need to. If you need to assign it to only specific students instead of the whole group, you can do that as well. And then you'll click assign. Okay, and that is how you assign to the students. So now I'm going to show you how to create a speaking. So that one's a little bit different. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the home. And we're going to click create an activity. And this one we're going to title it speaking. So for this one, we're going to use the audio only because for the speaking, they won't need to choose an answer or write anything. Okay, now on this one, we're going to go again for the question. We need the questions from the practice. So I'm going to go back and now I'm just going to scroll until I find a speaking question. Now, unfortunately, right now, Snorkl doesn't have an option to add video, so we wouldn't be able to do the ones where they have to answer based off a video that they watch. So we're going to go ahead and skip that one. But this one is a good one. So it says, look at the pictures. You will use the pictures to tell a story. When you are ready to speak, talk about each picture in order, tell as much as you can. So for this one, since it doesn't have an audio, we can actually take a picture of the whole thing. We won't need to type out the question. So when I do my screenshot, I'm going to include the whole thing. So again, to screenshot, you do Windows Shift S. And we're just going to snip what we need. Okay. Now we go back, add a question, and I'm going to do Control V to paste what I just took a snippet of. And I'm going to size it down just a little bit. Okay, so now for the speaking one, it's pretty simple. You don't really have to add anything because everything is there. So you can if you need to. If you need to add additional instructions, you can do so. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and leave as is, and we're going to click Done Editing. And it's pretty much the same as the way I showed you on the other one. So now, but this one, I'm going to show you how it differs. So with the AI feedback settings, it does all of that for you. We're going to go ahead and click Language Arts, Upper Elementary, and Generate. So you don't have to do any of the thinking. It takes the picture that you uploaded along with the instructions that are included there, and it can kind of figure out what the student is trying to do and what the student should be able to respond. Okay. And if you notice, it is a lot more specific than we were earlier. So I would recommend that you stick with the AI feedback settings, but if you'd like to, you can definitely create your own. So it does tell us to, the prompt would be to look at the pictures, and it just goes into more detail. And the same thing with the answer and criteria. This is what we're looking for. This is what the AI is looking for from the student. And if you want to, you can edit it. Like if there's just something specific you want to add to it or change, you can do so as well. Once you like that, you can go ahead and click confirm. And now we're going to see how it looks as a student. Okay, so again, they're going to click on start response. And let's listen to the instructions.
Look at the pictures. You will use the pictures to tell a story. When you are ready to speak, talk about each picture in order. Tell as much as you can.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to respond, and that way we can see how, how it rates me. I see a dad and a baby, and they are playing with a bear, and the dad is washing his hands. Okay, so I was very vague with my answer. I want to see what it's going to tell me now. So I'm going to go, and before they submit, they can listen to their response. I see a dad and a baby, and they are playing. Okay, if they like it, they can click submit. If they don't like it, before they submit, they can click cancel and redo it. So we're going to go ahead and submit. And let's see what it tells me. Okay, so incorrect, 1 out of 4, not yet. Good job noticing some details like the bear and hand washing. Can you look more carefully at each picture and tell me what happens first, then second, then third, then fourth? So it is very supportive, like I mentioned earlier. I love that it's not just like you got it wrong, try again. It guides the students. So they're really thinking about why they got it wrong and how they can do better. So we're going to go ahead and return to teacher. And same thing, you would assign the exact same way. We already created a group, so we're going to do red group. Next, keep everything on except for the translate and assign. Okay, so now, so that's how you create the activities. It's pretty simple. Now, the only downside is I'm going to go back to home so we can talk more about those activities. If you notice, it already tells me I have 8 out of 20 activities. You only get 20 activities for the year. That's the only downside. However, it does allow you to delete. So if I were to delete, so let's say I delete this one right here, delete, and then I refresh my page. Oh, maybe I need to delete this one. Oh, you know what? That's the class. I'm sorry. I need to delete the actual activity. So if you were to delete the actual activity, where is it? So I think you have to unassign first, and then, I'm sorry, hold on. Where was it? Maybe you have to go to library. Here we go. Okay. Yes. Okay. So once you delete the activity, so you can't do it through the class, it has to be under the library tab. And we go back home and we refresh. Now it tells me 7. So that is the only workaround that I can give you. Once you've run out of activities, you can maybe go back and delete some that you've already completed, and then you can create some more. But it's still a good amount. 20, you can do 10 listening, 10 speaking, and that's a good amount for your students to be able to practice. And that is how we use Snorkl. Any questions? Can't see.
I love it. Thank you, Amber. I think it's a great
Yes.
tool it will definitely help for that oral language development.
Yes, I agree.
So it's kind of a great tool. So hopefully everybody can go back and try it out. And Myra, thank you
love
for
it.
joining us.
I love it too. I'm just wondering, I know you shared directly through, or I guess to Google Classroom, right? I did see a copy link. Is that the link that we can use to share in our curriculum?
Yes.
Like to include
yes.
into our lessons as opposed to
Yes, if
giving?
you wanted to like add it to your slide, yeah, you can.
Okay, can I have 2 accounts to maximize my 20 activities per year?
I don't see why not. Especially if you're going to be using the copy link, I would say the only issue you might find is attaching it with your Google Classroom, because it does go with the email. So you'd have to play with that. But I don't see why. I mean, you'd have to use a different email, right, to create the second account. But I don't
Because
see
I
it.
can only imagine, like, if I erase them, like I can create them, right? And if I erase them, then the teachers will lose access to that. So it's best to have, let's say, if I create 20 activities for world history and then 20 for world geo in different accounts, right?
In different, exactly. Yeah, that would be smart. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. Thank you so much. Yes, perfect timing for me.
I know, yes. And we just got our TELPAS scores too, right? So everybody's, thinking
absolutely. And getting ready for next year's plan as well. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.